Howdy. This is gonna be a tough one. For many reasons. One is that I got to read a lot. So, let's dive into that. Nature, October 12th, 2022. Dragon Riders of CERN. Learning to fly. Wright. There's some picture of a dragon. First, I want to say there is no such thing as a black holes. There is no such thing as 75,000 black holes. There's nothing like that. Black holes, dark matter, dark energy. It's a wrong paradigm. It's a waste of time and energy. Many of those people who work in CERN, they are probably very curious about how things work, but they are doomed to stumble around in darkness since they are totally in the wrong paradigm. And I started to read this article. It is rather funny, odd, strange, however you want to call it, but still nature. Explore content. So let's dive into that. I will not download this now. Yes, humans do ruin everything. But it's not their fault. You got soft on your last assignment. Yes, I'm sure you were fierce. They probably still sing the praises of, what did I call you? I drank last? Sure, undoubtedly. All humanity still knows of you all these centuries down their timeline. They are referring to dragons, I guess. That's not why you're here, though. Cadet, you're here to learn to be a rider. With your stints at galactic and planet dweller scales completed, the only thing standing between you and being cleared to roam the universe as you will. A free dragon is your atomic scale service requirement with me. Enough with that mom stuff. You really have been around humans too long. Address me as captain or rider and stop sulking. That will get you a lot further. Now, pay attention. At this point in the human timeline, they are becoming a threat to draconic existence again. I'm sure I don't need to lecture you on what happened when they first began contemplating time. The resulting temporal causality, as a scorch we had to endure all downstream. Well, they're at it again. No, not time. Matter. They don't actually know quite what they're looking for, and they certainly don't have any idea what their observations could mean for us. Since their era, when younglings like you tramped across the places they call China and Europe, and Wales, yes, I was trying to speak broadly rather than specifically. Now I stopped interrupting. As I was saying, since the time it was common for them to observe us in their scales, they've stopped believing in our existence, which is all to the good. Why? Are you trying my patience on purpose, cadet? Because if they find us, it'll be a temporal causality fiasco all over again. And I don't care what stories you've heard. I'm neither easy to anger nor amusing to watch with my dander up. You younglings and your human borrowed expressions. If more of you took draconic culture as seriously as you do those human mannerisms you've picked up. Yeah, I've been talking a lot about dragons. Fine, I'll explain. Without humans expecting to see us, we can come and go as we please. We are not confined to the range of forms that they have imagined for us, and can exist at any scale of matter or time that we wish. That's not true. But anyway, That's exactly why serving on the human scale during the time of belief that you and your friends so enjoy is a coming of age requirement. Yes, we are in desperate need of a paradigm shift. We need to keep human expectation restricted to that piece of the timeline issue. As I was saying, though, the humans have let their curiosity get the better of them again, and it's our job to see that it doesn't get the better of us. In this era, they have built complex systems, huge ones for them, to try to observe more and more of the universe at atomic scales. Somehow, they've decided that the key to understanding the largest objects in the universe is to learn about the smallest ones. Of course, they don't know. It's us they're looking for. I do. I really do. They didn't set out to build all these machines and theories saying, let's see if we can find a dragon. But it doesn't matter, because the effect is the same. They're looking for something they've creatively dubbed dark matter. They call it dark because so far they haven't been able to detect any kind of electromagnetic radiation which they broadly call light from it. What they don't realize, what they cannot and must not know, is that what they've really seen out there is us. Even dragons can't hide from gravity. That's why it's our responsibility here to keep the humans from finding us. They are clever critters, though, and keep coming up with new ways to search. They desperately want to understand matter. In order to learn more, they try to coax matter into certain behaviors which will, they hope, unlock the mysteries of the universe. Of course, we don't want to be unlocked. That's why this program exists. Get it? If we fail, you won't get to go splash in that galactic cluster you're so fond of playing in anymore. Oh, yes, I did my homework. Yeah, I did my homework too. You're one of the reasons the humans are so nosy lately. The way you kept making those galaxies dance to your whims. No, none of that now. You're just doing what dragons do. You just need to get better at escaping their notice. You need to learn another trick. That got your attention, didn't it? Yes. Being a rider is about more than a duty. While you're keeping the humans confused, you'll be learning how to alter yourself as well. As you ride that energy, those almost undetectably small particles, they're passing through all their intricate accelerators and such, you'll be able to direct your mount where you will. Away from the human detectors, that is, and disguise it with aspects of your own draconic essence. You will get to choose exactly how to defy their experiments. They can see some of those particles they're looking for. They can see waves or bursts of energy. It doesn't matter, just as long as they don't see dragons. That's your job. Now, mount up, cadet. Let's go. Make a rider out of you. So, now that's short. Let's take this into that also. The story behind the story. Rachel Wright reveals the inspiration behind Dragon Riders of CERN. As a child, one of my earliest introductions to science fiction was Anne McCaffrey's Dragon Riders of CERN series. Perhaps it is thus unsurprising that my wordplay happy brain eventually coughed up this title for my consideration. I knew almost instantly that, unlike the McCaffrey series, the dragons here would not be hidden. Written. Yeah, the dragons here would not be written, okay, but instead themselves do the writing. And what would dragons at CERN write except particles? When I began looking into the various research projects at CERN, I realized that the puzzle of dark matter, a concept that went from cutting-edge research topic to introductory level material between the time I was an undergraduate and when I taught undergraduates, was exactly what I was looking for. Dark matter is still unexplained and mysterious, the scientific equivalent of here be dragons. It struck me as a perfect match. So, let me light your match, Rachel Wright. Check this out. The one on the left is a stone I found. It has a C pinch on it. And very interesting features. Here on the right, we have a dragon. I wrote the paper, Plate Tectonic Issues, the Influence of Electricity in Rock Forming Processes and the Coherent Connection Between Science, Mythology and History of Finland, where I talk also about dragons. We go down a little bit. Dragons are all over the place. That's a dragon, for example, or part of the dragon. Ground-to-ground discharges on Earth. Smaller and bigger craters. Finland and the one at the plasma rock site. 300 kilometers approximately and 2.5 meters. And also very small ones. You can stick the finger inside there. There's many interesting things there at the site. I call it the plasma rock site. That's the molten metal. For those who remember Andrew Hall's video. We have a surface conductivity anomaly in Scandinavia. No one talks about it. Took it down after I made videos about it. EPOS, European Plate Observatory Station, something. Yeah, they don't talk. Aeromagnetic map, metal ore map, where we have this interesting feature of uranium. They told me it's not here, so don't be worried, but they didn't talk to me any further. But if we go down, we are still talking about dragons. Venus, the planet Venus, is also very important in the story of the dragons. Here we have dragons. Seal of Duke Valdemar, 13th century. The Finnish lion. Which I think is a dragon, actually. And here we have an example for the abundance of these symbols. Habsburg, which is in Switzerland, and the Finnish lion. This picture is actually an accident. I tried to make something else, but then I noticed how somehow they fit perfectly, so I just gave it a go. We have thunderbolts all over the world. And here is my somehow really sketchy impression of a lightning strike, which probably created the crater which just we saw before. Sorry for this. Still not here. So, I have been thinking about dragons. I have been writing about dragons. They are very interesting. Now let's just scroll down a bit once again. And it's not only that Finland has this lion, hence dragon, in its flag. It's also so that they don't know what it means. I'm just searching, where is it? Even the Finnish Ministry of the Interior states on its page, little is unknown about the origin of the Finnish coat of arms. They don't know. How is it possible that a country has so many rules about the flag? They don't even know where it's from or what it is about in the first place. There has been at least 500 years' time to figure out what it means, but no one did, except me. You can read about it here. So, dragons. Coins with dragons, flags with dragons. There are also tales in Finnish culture which tell about dragons, so we maybe wouldn't have needed to go to Middle Europe or to the far north in order to find a dragon which relates to Finnish history, culture and mythology. His name is Ikutur, so the character is part of the Karelian and Finnish national epic Kalevala. Here's an example of what is said about him in the Kalevala. From the ocean rose a giant, mighty torsos, tall and hardy, presses compactly all the grasses that the maidens had been raking, when a fire within them kindles, and the flame shot up to heaven till the windows burned to ashes. Only ashes now remaining of the grasses raked together. One should understand the nature of the dragon and the reason why they are known all over the world with slight differences in their behavior. A dragon is a weather event, electromagnetic discharge event. In other words, lightning, wind. When talking about electricity, we have to understand that there are Birkeland currents. And this is a Birkeland Current Simulator. Let me show you quickly. Ethereal matters. Birkeland Current Simulator. In the electric universe model galaxy, stars and planets are connected together with vast electric currents. This explains why galaxies align like pearls on a string and give structure to the universe. Here is a Birkeland Current Simulator. You can adjust the speed, but it's a little bit hard to show. Yeah, this is, if you are interested in that, you can dive into this, play around. For example, if you watch it from let's take it like that. Now we are watching inside it, straight from ahead. Oh man, let's leave it like that. So, now back to the paper, scroll down. Thunderbolts, lightning strikes, more Parrot instabilities. Squattermans, owls, and the cookie box. The cookie jar. That's some random cookie jar. And we find these patterns here. Which look very similar to this Birkeland Current. I've been talking about these kinds of things. Taurus, Stan Tenon. Here we have again Birkeland Current, Squatterman. Here it is, Birkeland Current, what it's containing according to the charges and how it works. There's like polar vortex things, and we have the Siberian traps, which are basalt, so they have their own electromagnetic role in the environment. They also seem to be between the North Pole and the new North Pole position, so it has to somehow cross those. And whatever it means. But they are very important, I think, in Earth's electromagnetic environment, especially in times as now, as our pole is shifting and all these kinds of things are going on. There's like, in rather small space, you can find all kinds of things there at the plasma rock site. We have tetrahedrons, we have this kind of, it almost really looks like welded, which is here on top. It's not really visible in the bigger picture. Maybe here. Little craters, molten metal, and all kinds of things. Which brings us to geology, which is in a way studying petrified weather. And dragons, since they are electrical in nature, they have to behave according to certain rules, and these are circuitry and angles, like different kinds of atoms and stuff. They have their own geometry, platonic solids and such. But let me show you quickly something about geometry and dragons. How to read footprints of the dragons. And I don't know anybody better than Andrew Hall, so let's give him the word quickly. That's the Keystone Pattern video. I will put a link below. Check it out. It's very interesting.
My guess is they laid a metal plate on a table to form one electrode. They covered the metal plate with a dielectric plate, probably glass or plastic, to add resistance and enhance the reactive power. Then they hung another electrode a few inches above the plate and covered the plate in sand. I believe they then took two leads from a three-phase power source, stepped into high voltage, and connected one lead to the plate and one lead to the hanging electrode, creating a point-to-plane electric field between two out-of-phase circuits. The pattern is caused by electrical induction currents that spread out in the horizontal plane from the vertically oriented multi-phase discharge between the electrodes. These type of induction currents are called reactive power currents. You can think of it like aiming a fire hose at the floor. The stream of water from the nozzle is an analogy for the vertical discharge current. In terms of electricity, we call that real power because it's going where we want it. The water that splashes from the floor are reactive currents, or reactive power currents in the case of electricity, that are splashing across the electrode plate. The stream of water hitting the floor is like electric current hitting resistance. Reactive power is the energy of currents that gets redirected by the resistance. The splash pattern that reactive power makes is peculiar and very specific to electromagnetism. Unlike water that splashes away vectored by kinetic energy and gravity, an electric current generates moving electric and magnetic fields that vector its reactive energy. So it generates a repeating fractal pattern. Reproducing in the lab is as compelling as scientific evidence can get. It's also compelling when you can find it in nature over and over again. We're going to use it to identify several electrical craters here on Earth, and doing so dispel the silly notion that Earth has been bombarded by asteroids and comets. This image shows the Keystone Pattern again, only this time I've annotated certain features over the Billy Elverton-Michael Steinbacher experiment. The pattern occurs over the duration of the discharge while it is in contact with the ground and making a complete circuit. Over time, the voltage vector of reactive power shooting out from the focal point rotates around the pattern like the second hand of a clock, pointing to all points on the compass, only it sweeps around counterclockwise instead of clockwise. The current that follows this voltage vector lags behind it, like the minute hand of the clock chasing the second hand, but never catching up. At the same time, magnetic fields are pulsing outward in concentric waves from the focal point and inducing current to follow it. This sets up an interference pattern of positive and negatively charged regions around the circle formed by the induced currents, where the sand grains, which also carry charge, are either attracted or repelled. It's much like a cymatic pattern created by a particular frequency of vibration, only this is caused by induced out-of-phase currents, where the charge on the plate is the same as the sand. The sand is levitated away, which is technically called sputtering, and it's levitated to a region of opposite charge, where it sticks to form a mountain. Within the image, the red cross represents primary reactive currents that splash at particular vectors from the discharge focused at the center of the X. C is a filament of electrical induction or capacitive reactive current, and the one marked L is a filament of magnetic induction reactive current. The green dashed circle that surrounds the formation represents stray capacitance generated in concentric rings around the focus of the discharge made by magnetic fields.
Okay, I recommend you to watch the whole video. And this my little boy found somewhere, and I thought that's very interesting. You can put it on a table and put a hot pan on it and nothing happens, so that's its purpose. But it is also something very profound, because we have a hexagonal here. Now it's a hexagon. I was just thinking something is missing. But anyway, I will explain you once why this is so important, and it's so simple. Like, that's also one of the forms of dragons. So it's very interesting to read dragons and CERN in one article. Rachel Wright, you might be interested or even mind blown into the real world of dragons, which is quite like, it's rather close to the sacred geometry. Charge accumulates on peaks or edges, which can be defined also mathematically. But anyway, I leave it here. Thanks.